come home from a long day of school or work. You're exhausted. You don't want to do anything else except just sleep. But it's a Friday. You decide to pop in a game. Think about the game you would play. Chances are, it wasn't a fighting game. If it was,
That's cool.
but if it wasn't,
Yeah, that makes sense.
what's so great about fighting games? What's so great about training hours upon hours to enjoy something, you might be asking? Well, stick around, and I'll tell you. Before we start, let me tell you the fundamentals of fighting games. Most fighting games are 1v1, with a health bar that you must deplete within a certain amount of time. Most fighting games also have what is known as a special meter. You can use this special meter to dish out cool attacks known as supers. To do these supers and other special attacks, you'd have to put an emotion on your joystick with a button. This can consist of quarter circle, half circle, a Z motion, and a full circle. The goal in fighting games are generally the same. Keep hitting your opponent until they're down. There are some exceptions to these rules, but we'll get into them later on. Now you might be asking, what's the point in all this? Why are you telling me this? Why should I care? Well, allow me to explain. Fighting games are different when it comes to other forms of competition. Let's look at shooters for example. In shooters, most of the time you're in a team. And when you're in a team, it's you and your teammates that have to make a decision. Sometimes you just gotta make a sole decision. Sometimes it's your teammates making a decision. And sometimes it's you and your teammates that have to come together to agree on something. But in fighting games, it's only you and your opponent, without many outside factors or any randomness to get in your way. A lot more things are in your control when it comes to fighting games. Not saying that shooters are completely random. I'm just saying that there's a lot more things that are out of your control in the shooter compared to fighting games. It is balanced out though. Even though things are out of your control, in team-based games, you have, well, a team that can help you out and pick up where you make mistakes. So not all is lost if something goes south. Unlike a fighting game where a mistake can cost you a game. Not saying that that's not the same in a team-based game. I'm just saying that in a fighting game, it's only you that can pick up your own slack. That's why there's something so rewarding about making progress and winning in a fighting game. Because everything is on you. Fighting games and their communities go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. If there's no community, why bother playing the fighting game? And you can't have a community to a game that doesn't exist. Basically what I'm saying is, there are a lot of memorable moments from a lot of different communities and games. Here's an example of one that you've probably heard a lot.
Happy feet, wombo combo. That ain't Falco. That ain't Falco. Oh, 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 Where you at? Where you at? Oh, oh my God. Wombo combo. Oh, get your ass whooped.
If you didn't know already, which I'd be surprised if you didn't, that was the wombo combo. A very memorable moment, not just in fighting game history, but in memes in general, it's so memorable that it's said just about anywhere. I'm sure you'll find something that references Wombo Combo somewhere. And the craziest thing is that the phrase Wombo Combo originally came from pizza. I guess you really do learn something new every day, huh? Not every memorable moment in the FGC is happy-go-lucky. Just like in everyday life, not everyone gets along with each other, and the FGC is no exception. Grudge matches and rivalries are a common thing in the fighting game community. Though not as popular as Wombo Combo, this moment that I'm about to discuss is still pretty hype and pretty popular within the FGC. What moment am I talking about, you might ask? Well, Marvel vs. Capcom veteran Viscount and Street Fighter player
Low tier
were having beef on Twitter. The beef started when Low Tier God made a video to make a crack at people who would play video games all day, saying that they would forget to take a shower, forget to eat, and forget to use the bathroom, while using Viscount as an example.
How many times have you had intentions of only playing a game for an hour to look up and about 3 or 4 hours have passed and you forget to do anything else? You forgot to shower, you forgot to eat, you even forget to take a piss. Keeping up with those habits continuously will have you looking like this guy.
The beef got so heated that they decided to settle it in a grudge match to a first of 10.
You got this, Viscount. Okay, here we go. There we go. Are they ready to go already?
And after an hour of button heads, this is who came out on top.
Really need to know the character matchup at this point. I mean, it's pretty clear Patience is going to win the game.
Oh! Viscount! Please!
He's going after the jugular. He's going after the jugular now.
Viscount! Jesus Christ! Couldn't have said it better myself. Ooh! Standing fierce counter hit!
What did I tell you, man?
Oh my God!
You guys don't listen.
Red focus! The damage!
I should have taken it.
And he just gave up.
I don't care how tall you are. Pectorial size means nothing.
He is beating his ass right now.
Yeah,
this
this is
just
beatdown city.
ridiculous. Look at that. He is not letting him get those air knives.
Kick throw.
Ooh!
Viscount! That was
Perfectly
sick.
timed.
Slow motion.
Conclusion. The aftermath.
Oh. Yeah, it's not looking good right now. Viscount.
This is it, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, we're
Oh
calling
my
it.
God.
I just made $5 from Watson.
I can't believe that it is
it's
ladies
over.
and gentlemen, this is it. He's going to
There's
Ultra
no
2
way.
and land.
There's
Just
no
Ultra
way.
2. Oh, he doesn't have Ultra. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little.
You're getting too high.
And that's it. That's it. AJ is popping off.
But after
He
all
is
that
popping
trash
off right
talk,
now. He is
Low
popping
Tier
off.
God lost. And this is what Viscount had to say.
Look, what I do in my spare time, I work 2 jobs. What I do in my spare time, I volunteer with Father Joe. So what that is in San Diego, that's a homeless outreach. I help people get off of drugs. That's what I do in my spare time. So you saying that all I do is play video games? You saying that I'm on meth, that I do drugs? No, seriously. Fuck that. That's what I do in my spare time. I got one more thing to say. I got one more thing to say. So, there's going to come a point when you forget about what happened. And you're going to want to come back at me. And you're going to want to wash the taste of my dick out of your mouth.
What once started as a normal set turned into one of the greatest comebacks in fighting game history. It was top 48 of the Dragon Ball FighterZ CEO 2018 tourney. Leffen, a pro melee player who's had his fair share in fighting games, and Goichi, a Dragon Ball FighterZ legend. It was a very close game. It was 1-1, and Goichi was on his last character, very low health and a lot of meter. Neither player had sparking, and Goichi had to take out 3 of Leffen's characters back to back. It seemed like Leffen was taking the win here, but Goichi had other plans.
Yo, oh, wait a minute, let me get it together. He got plenty of ball. We might just see God Raw aka. He might be dead. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh my God. What they charge? Right away. Oh! You gotta match it. You gotta match it. Don't let up. Are you serious? You're reacting to that. Oh my God. The way out of his mind right now. Stay solid. This man is in another plane of existence. Wow! Oh my goodness! Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness! Yikes! Hold up! Oh my God! How did you do that? Oh, he's still chasing. He's trying to tell us. He's coming off! He do that! That was clutch. Oh my God! Yikes! Yo, somebody give me an asthma pump. Yes, sir! Somebody give me an asthma pump. Oh my God! Yo.
It may seem like communities are nothing but well-known players and people who've played fighting games for years, but that's not true. Anyone can play, anyone can make an awesome moment, and anyone can make it to the top if they want to. Now it may seem like I'm spouting cliche nonsense here, but I promise you, I'm going somewhere with this. It's understandable that people turn their backs on these kind of games, and it may seem like you have to put in a lot of hours to enjoy it. Well, that's half true. Sure, if you want to beat all the competition in your path, you're going to have to put in the work, but your goal and the way you get there can be completely different. It can be as long as trying to master every character, as complex as trying to learn the hardest combo on combo trials, or as simple and clean as just trying to do a quarter circle. Whatever it may be, it's possible. Everything's possible. Anything you see, a combo, movement, weird tech, you name it, it's possible. There isn't a single thing in fighting games that can't be done by more than one person, no matter how hard it is. And if you pursue that task, whatever it may be, the community is there to help you. From guides to coaches to even the built-in lesson and training modes. There are an infinite number of ways to get better to reach your goal. And when you do reach your goal, the person that will be hyped up the most is you. Because you're the one who put in the effort. You're the one who made it. You'll have an eternal trophy forever, and no one can take it away from you because you're awesome. And hey, if you're still doubting yourself about trying to learn fighting games in any way, shape, or form, just know that a dog learned how to do a Hadouken.
Holy shit!
If that doesn't convince you that anyone can make it in fighting games, I don't know what will. If you made it this far, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And I promise I won't take up your time much longer. There are many different fighting game styles that you could get into. You could eventually play them all, or you could just stick to one. The different styles of fighting games are traditional, air dashers, or more commonly known as anime fighters, 3D fighters, and platform fighters. Each of them having unique differences in movement and tech which separate them from one another. Let's start with traditional fighters. These fighting games are what started it all, and are the most well known out of the different fighting games. These fighting games have different movement based on what character you're using, but for the most part, not too different. These games are where footsies are the make or break. Footsies is basically trying to bait out an enemy's attack so you can attack yourself. Traditional fighters movement allows you to utilize footsies the most, as movement isn't too loose, nor is it too strict either. Examples of traditional fighters are Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Killer Instinct. An outlier to traditional fighters would be the King of Fighters. The King of Fighters series of games has more movement options like short hopping, sprinting, and rolling to avoid projectiles, which allows for more flavor of movement and dynamic openings. Since there's nothing else to talk about, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Again, wait. Am I forgetting something? Nah, I'm not forgetting that. Oh yeah. Next, we'll talk about air dashers, or more commonly known as anime fighters. These games take what traditional fighters do and crank it up to 11, with more dynamic movement and super flashy specials, which can allow for more exciting matches. Movement in these games differ a lot from character to character, some being freakishly fast to super slow. As the name implies, air dashers are games where you can dash in the air. You can also block in the air. In anime fighters, footsies aren't as important, as its speed and movement in the air take center stage in these games. Examples of these games are Guilty Gear, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Blaze Blue. An outlier to anime fighters would be the upcoming DNF Duel, as it doesn't have air dashing or blocking in the air, but it still has dynamic specials and sprinting toward your opponent. So despite not having air dashing, the style and other aspects of the game are generally the same as of other anime fighters.
Try, but here it is, set point for Rock's Dragon's knee.
Brixton in trouble right now, needs to get this round.
The focus, he didn't let it go.
Oh, he jumped the jump.
He's got full bar. Hey.
Next is 3D fighters, the most difficult of the four. These fighting games are more grounded and more strict in movement. Character speeds are basically the same, as 3D fighters are generally slow, but that doesn't mean the game is slow paced, not by a long shot. Advanced tech allows for more movement options and openings. An example of this is Korean backdashing, which is backdashing and canceling it with something, the fastest thing being the down back motion. Then, letting go of the joystick for a quick sec, then backdashing again, and repeating. The same can be done forward to do a wave dash. Blocking in these games aren't your best line of defense. It's actually by evading left or right. Doing that alone can turn the round completely in your favor. Examples of these games are Tekken, Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur, and Dead or Alive. Last but not least is platform fighters, the most unique of the four. These fighting games have way more free movement than any of the other styles I mentioned, and are usually taken more casually than the others. But that doesn't mean they can't be taken competitively. In fact, if you want to take on competition but want something a little more easier, and then if you get bored and just want to have fun with items and stuff, then platform fighters are the place for you. A lot of these games have different tempos and speeds, some being fast and heavy like Melee, or slow and floaty like Brawlhalla. There are plenty of platform fighters to choose from, the most popular one being Super Smash Bros. Other examples include Rivals of Aether, Slap City, Lethal League Blaze, and the upcoming Multiversus. No matter what your preferences are, there's most likely going to be a fighting game for you. As for getting into one, it all depends on how invested you want to be. Want to go for a popular, relatively new fighting game? Or do you want to go for something more niche and older? Want to just dip your toes and play super casually? Just trying to check out the game? Or do you want to go for a full-on foot dive trying to experience everything the fighting game community has to offer. Whatever you want to do, fighting games are here, and they ain't going anywhere anytime soon. There are a few things I want to say before I go. First off is thank you. If you made it this far, thank you. I really do appreciate it. You're awesome if you made it this far. And I made a mistake and I missed input when I was talking about inputs in the introduction. There's a charge input, which is holding back or holding down, and then for a short period of time, and then holding or flicking to up, and then flicking to the side, and then pressing a button, which would activate the command for a charge input. And also, like, I'm not a pro player when it comes to fighting games. In fact, I'm relatively new. I've only played fighting games very casually as a kid, and only recently started trying to play fighting games more competitively. I'm not that good. I'm like floor 6 in Guilty Gear, and I haven't really went to many tournaments and stuff. But yeah, for the most part, I'm like new. So the video is kind of also for me as well. But I've seen so many videos talking about fighting games, and all these people, that just want to show their love for fighting games so that other people can love and enjoy. But fighting games are a really amazing thing. It's just not very understood. And so I thought I'd take a crack at it. So yeah, thank you again. And I know I keep saying it, I know I'm like repeating myself, but I really do appreciate you, and I hope you have a good one.